Welcome to The Dig on the Huskers Radio Network podcast, powered by Emeritus. Featuring Nebraska volleyball assistant coach Jordan Larson. Here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Welcome back into a Big Ten Championship edition of The Dig. I'm Jessica Coody, joined by assistant coach Jordan Larson. Congratulations. How fun was that?
Thank you. It was so fun. Just really proud of our crew, and it's what we're doing is really hard. And I think just this is icing on the cake, but in validation of like what we've been doing and putting the time in. So it's really cool to celebrate and kind of take a minute to enjoy the moment and celebrate. So really, really proud of them. Yeah,
Coach Cook has said multiple times it's harder to win a Big Ten title than it is a national title, and just everything that goes into it, and maybe felt the team had a little bit of pressure against Iowa as well. Did you guys sense that? I mean, was it something that, when you know that that's lingering, I guess, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just big on acknowledging like how we are and how we're feeling, right? I think we could say, oh, we're fine, you know, everything's good, things are rolling, you know, but it's like, can we acknowledge like, hey, it's the pressure's building, like acknowledging it, accepting what it is, and then also but seeing what it is that we're dealing with, and that's just dealing with our side of the net. What can we do well, and how can we get 1% better every day? And I think and then also our focus is on gratitude. I think when we're focusing on what we're grateful for and staying grounded, you're really in the present moment. And so I think you really saw that. But I think, yeah, you'd be lying to say that there's not pressure. And but I think just creating awareness around how to handle that and how to manage that.
You know, and that was another thing Coach Cook talked about, is that everybody's giving you your best, right? I mean, and it's not an easy thing to do. So what's been your perspective of it? Because, you know, you've talked a lot about you've been away, came back, but just the night in and night out competition that this team has to face and getting everybody's best. What's been your perspective of that?
Yeah, I think just really getting to know the girls, not just obviously as volleyball players, but as people, and really understanding kind of what makes them like want to be good every day and want to show up every day and be their best. And I think when you teach them how to train at a high level every day, right, then that they've put the money in to kind of then take out when they need to. When things are not going well, they know how to FRS, like the failure recovery, like how to bounce back quicker. And so when you're teaching that and training at a high level every single day, I think it just, I wouldn't say it shows up, but they have something to rely on, and then understanding that they're not in it alone. Like the culture piece like is so important, and I think the girls get along all like relatively well, and I think that also adds a layer of like being in the moment, and then also competing together. You know, when you're kind of all on the same page, that really helps just build things and be successful over time.
Coach Cook said they turned it on in set 3. What did you guys see in that set that allowed that turnaround and them to really turn it on?
Yeah, I thought we started serving tougher and defending well, and then obviously our offense was rolling and in transition as well. I think we had a couple bigs up the pipe that, up the middle that were really good, and I don't know, I love that we don't panic even when things are not going well, right? I think you could sense things on certain teams maybe where, you know, the stress starts to build and it's like, oh no, what do we do? Versus like, oh no, what do we do? It's now we have a solution and we're going to attack that. So I have full confidence that that we know how to respond when things are kind of not going our way. And I thought we did a really good job of foreseeing that and fighting that battle almost, yeah.
You've won a lot of trophies, a lot of titles throughout your career. How did this one feel as a coach?
Yeah, it was weird last night. You know, usually I'm the one like throwing the water, or, you know, jumping around and like but watching them and seeing them achieve something, right? Like when you put so much work into it, and now even being behind the scenes and seeing how these girls are celebrating and like just really embracing the moment, like it's really validating and so fun to see it click, you know, for them. But it also, the inner like athlete still in me that I'm still playing, like the fact that I still get to enjoy those moments as a player is really special to me. So I'm looking forward to also getting back on the court and competing again myself selfishly, but then also now we have the end of the season to kind of see this out and how can we still maximize what we have, because I don't think we're done yet.
Yeah, and just again, when it is so hard to do, and then day in and day out just dealing with it, just when the pressure lid comes off and it happens. I mean, what is that moment like for an athlete when it does everything that you did and it didn't just start in August, it started, Coach Cook said, about in January. It's not something that you accomplish this by just doing it a short amount of time. So when that does happen, what is that feeling like?
Yeah, it's definitely like you feel like you can breathe again a little bit. Like, but I also think they know that, like, this is, and what I've learned throughout my career, right, when you earn a trophy or a medal or something, it's a snapshot in time. So when they look back on this in 10 years, they're not going to remember, maybe they'll remember the moment that they got it, but what they're going to remember is the journey and what it took to get there and how hard it is. And it's a grind, but it makes you know that you can go through anything in life. Whatever life throws at you, you can do it because you've done it time and time again and for a long time. And so, again, when life hits you against the wall, or, you know, the next match we go up against, like, they have something to fall back on because they put in the work. So I think that's really cool for them to, like, be able to draw on and remember. But it's more about the journey than just the title is just a little sweet spot in the end, you know?
Absolutely. Coach Hook said he played the Revival, Zach Bryan, his version of it. Yes. How would you evaluate him as a recording artist?
Yeah. It's pretty good, I will say. And that was the one thing I always admired as a player, is he always tried to make something really unique to the team that he was coaching, and make them feel special and empowered. And the fact that he thought of that was really special. And what he says to each of them is really cool, and it holds true to all of them. So really cool idea, and it's a fun song as well.
How do you guys close the chapter on this? You still have 2 regular season matches left, and then the postseason, but it's, I guess, a little bit different where you didn't clinch on the final season, but you still got 2 big ones left. How do you guys go into this week?
Yeah, no, obviously 2 great competitors coming, and I think it's every day is a chance to get better, right? And I think that's been our focus, at least for mine as well, is how do we keep getting better and focus on the next point. And I think we're going to have great competition this week, and I think just prep for what's to come. But I think we want to finish on a high note and finish the conference on a high note. So I'm assuming we're going to push hard and do what we can to win both these matches.
I should have asked you, how about the crowd? There was a lot of Husker fans there.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it was a great turnout. I'm not shocked, you know. I mean, I think Husker fans are the best, and it was awesome to feel like it was a home crowd for us, relative, but it was a great environment. Honestly, that arena was very nice, and it was fun to see Iowa compete as well. They were throwing everything at us. I mean, they were defending and just really played a great match.
So you've been a part of teams that go on special runs this time of year. What is the key? What is it that about this time starts to happen for a team, that needs to happen for a team to really go on a special run?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a trick, right, a little bit. It's like you feel like you have to do something different. And, you know, I remember going into my first Olympic Games, and it was like, I'm walking into opening ceremonies. Oh, my gosh, I'm at the Olympics. And you can make the moment bigger than it actually is. And don't get me wrong, like, you want to embrace the moment and realize what's actually happening, but also realizing it's all the same court, same ball, same net. I'm just going out there and playing a different opponent than maybe I have never played before, but I'm still executing the skill at the same level. So I think understanding that, yes, the moment is bigger technically, but it's also the same thing you're doing every day, and if you're executing at a high level every day, it's going to show up. So I'm really excited to see them just continue what we've been on and continue to push that edge of being 1% better, getting one thing better every day. And when you have that focus, good things come.
Great perspective. Well, we had you on a few weeks ago, but since then, Merritt Beason has played a few matches just completely out of her mind. What are you seeing out of her, and how she's continuing to raise her game each week?
She is just, talk about consistency. She shows up literally every day, consistent behavior, consistent positivity, wants to be the best version of herself, and really admire that about her. And I think that's why you see her performance doing so well, is because I think in all facets of her life, right? Like, I think on the court, off court, she does very well at. And so I think it doesn't shock me that those areas are doing well for her, and she's just a great person. So I love when good things happen to good people.
Absolutely. Well, I've gotten multiple emails and texts, and I know people will be mad at me if I don't ask, but how's the progress of Lindsay Krause coming along?
Yes. You know, honestly, I'm not in a lot of those conversations, so she's doing better for sure, and on the mend, and obviously we'd love to have her back as soon as possible, but I also know that I think she wants to have a long career, so I think slower, steadier, the better, and we're blessed to have Jolene, who I've worked with many years, still call her and still use her to this day. So I know she's taking good care, and what we're hoping to have her back soon.
And in her absence, how nice is it to have somebody like Aly Batenhorst that you can call on to? And again, it's just like next man up, right? Next woman up, whoever. Yep. Whatever the opportunity arises, you got to be ready for it, right?
Exactly. And I think that's been our our key is anybody can go in at any time. We call it our game changers. Anybody can come in and change the game. And I think we're blessed to have depth, and it could be a good and bad thing, right, depending on how you look at it. But I think we do a nice job of embracing roles and helping where we can and learning how to push each other to be better each day. And I'm just really proud of Aly. She's really stepped up, and she's just a fun person to be around, and really proud of her.
The last couple of weeks on this podcast, we've talked a lot about the middles and their involvement and how important that is. But from an outside hitter's perspective, what does that do for you guys and for your hitters when the middles are so involved in doing what Becca and Andy and Maggie can all do? Totally,
yeah. Well, first of all, I think we have to give credit to our passing lineup. You know, Lexi, Laney, Aly, Harper. Without passing, right, like and being in system, it's really hard to run our middles. But once we get our middles going, and Bergen doing a great job of setting our middles up for success, like that just opens everything up for outside hitters, right? So, and just how physical our middles are, it's really amazing. Every time I see them, I'm like, our national team's going to be so good. Like in the years to come, you know, watching them play, I'm just now having the USA volleyball perspective. I'm like, it's so cool to see what's coming down the pipe, and I'm really proud of how available they are, right? Being a middle is probably one of the hardest jobs, right? Even me, I'm like lost in trans. I'm like, I don't know how they do it. They're going right pin to left pin. So the fact that they're up and available it really helps our pin hitters have space to hit at.
You know, Kelly was talking too how sometimes when you have somebody like Merritt going the way she is with the setter, you can hone in on somebody like that, but that Bergen does a pretty good job, and whether they miss it or come right back to them, and again, as a hitter, what does that do when you have a setter like that, the way that Bergen's trying to spread it out, but also realizes what each hitter needs. And I'm sure it's a process, too, throughout a season.
It is, and Bergen is just so steady. She is just, you would never know I think, when you think about high-level competitors, right, like the really, really good ones, you never know if things are going well or going, bad, and just super consistent. And she just is, nothing phases her. And I think her decision-making, the timing of her decision-making, like that's a hard skill to train. And she just has it naturally, and it flows naturally. So seeing her compete is really awesome. And I think all of the hitters love playing with her. So I think it's really cool.
Coach talked the other day about having you in the gym and how much, when you do go against a team, how much that's a good look for them. But what's it been like for you, the times that you do get to practice and go against this team?
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, I love jumping in, and I joke with them. I'm like, some of my teammates overseas are their age, right? So it's like, I'm like, this is normal for me. And it's just so funny. We talk and, we joke, and I, try to, banter back and forth a little bit just to kind of get their competitive edge going, and also know that if they want to play on, like what it kind of looks like and what that's going to take for them. But yeah, I love jumping in and kind of help where I can. But I also think sometimes I remember how I learned was watching, seeing other players do a skill and like repeating it. So I just know that like I'm now kind of a little bit of an example of them. Like, all right, well, if I want them to pass like this, I have to do how I want them to like see it, and so I'm grateful that I still have the ability to jump in and kind of play.
He did say you still make some things that are mind-blowing. He's like, I've never seen it before, how she breaks it down, but then he also said you still make some granny moves.
Oh, yeah, I know. The other day he joked, he's like, are we going to see granny in practice today? And I was like, some days when you're 37 trying to get after it still, it's hard. It is really hard. So, no, but I'm grateful that he still keeps it real with me, and but some days are just not as easy.
Is it good though for you that you still want to play, that you have a caliber of team like this that you can go up against?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's awesome, and yeah, they're just so fun, and yeah, for me, and just being able to jump in at any time is great for me as well.
We talked to Kelly a few weeks ago, and she was talking about how just the staff, how great it is. Like, you work with the hitters, and Jalen's got the blockers, and you have the hitters, and just how cohesive it is. Yeah. And so, again, now that you've been embedded with it a while, what's it been like being a part of the staff and how you guys all mesh?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think that, I don't know, I guess how I looked at it was like, hey, we're a team also, right? As a staff, we have to be a team, and if that means we're communicating and like, hey, this is what I see, but I know that kind of this is my area of work, and maybe if I see something, it's more of having a conversation with the coach than versus like the player itself, because they have their own job. So I don't know, I really like it. We do have a good vibe, and I'm grateful for them I know my role has been kind of transitional, right? Like kind of coming late, and I just wanted to make sure that I'm here to learn as well and learn from them, and how I can help wherever I can is kind of the attitude that I've tried to have. And so, but I'm really grateful that they've embraced me and let me be a small piece of it.
Moving on to this week and going to Wisconsin.
Yep.
What's the keys? What are the keys? I know Wisconsin dropped a few matches uncharacteristically, but they're going to want to get back in the win column. They're still fighting to host. So what's the approach going into Wisconsin? What are the keys against Wisconsin?
Yeah, I haven't been to Wisconsin since I think it would have been my junior year in college, and I remember the environment there was intense and awesome, and great fans as well. So I know it's going to be a great environment for us to compete in, and again, another chance for us to get better. And I know that Wisconsin is probably hungry after a couple losses to come back at us, and I know that we're going to respond well. So I'm really just looking forward to great competition and seeing how our girls can just continue to push that edge. And again, we have nothing to defend, right? We're out there. We're just trying to get better on our side of the net, and I think if we keep that as our focus, that's going to win us a lot of matches. So
I know you guys talk about widening the gap. What are the ways that you guys are doing that and focusing on that this week?
Yeah. Again, I think Coach is going to talk about just getting one one thing better? How do we focus on that one thing? I think so often we think so big picture. It's like, oh, we need to get better at all these things, when we can just, if we get 1% better in one area, like that's just going to be that much better. And imagine if everybody's just that much better in those areas, like it's going to be great. So I think if we can keep that focus, I think it's going to be good for us.
Lauren asked him the other day just what was the key about this team, what made this team different about winning a Big Ten championship for the first time since 2017. And he talked about the two-point mentality and winning those two-point matches, those games. How important is that, and how important has it been to this team to buy into that mentality? Yeah, it is. It's huge, right? Like, it doesn't have to, like, some wins are not pretty, right? It doesn't always look the best, right? And just about grinding it out, and how do you get, at the end of it, 2 points better than the other team? That's all it takes. And I think sometimes we want it to look a certain way, or how, and oftentimes the best wins are the grittiest and maybe not the prettiest. And you're like, hey, we didn't even play our best, but we pull out a win. I think that creates a good team. And so I think we just have to keep that. And we talk about having 25 one-point battles. If you kind of get your mind to focus on, literally, I just have to win this next point, like all of a sudden the game becomes a lot smaller and a lot narrow focus. Because sometimes it can be really daunting. You're like, wait, I have to play a 5-set match and I have to be in this for 2.5 hours. Like, that's a lot for an athlete and a lot to take in. So if you can get your mind to kind of focus in on, I just have to be good right now, like, you can do a lot of things. It's such a grind. How much fun does this time become again? I mean, you're so thinking about every match, but now here it is. How much fun is this time of year? Yeah, it's great. And I think, at least for me, like, I would like them to think about when you play the tape out, like, at the end of all this, how do you want to feel? How do you want to look back on this time? Be like, all right, we won a Big Ten championship and we just called it, we're done? Like, are we like, no, we won, and now we're going to show why we deserve this and why we're here to prove it, And when you get down to the end of it, like, how do you want this to look like? And I don't know, I've played a lot of matches in my career of like, all right, at the end of all this season, how do I want to reflect back? I want to know that I literally gave everything that I had, and I'd rather sleep well at night knowing that versus leaving something out there. So I hope that they kind of reflect on what they want that to look like. Well, you adding another one to the ring collection. I know. You know which finger you're going to put this one on? I don't. I know. I got to find more space. So I'm just grateful that I get a small piece of this, and I can't tell you enough how awesome it is to work with these girls. They're so fun to be around, and it's been fun to be a part of, for sure. Did you anticipate they'd be this much fun? No, I didn't. I mean, I shouldn't say I didn't know. I didn't really have any expectations, to be honest. I'm really humbled every day that I get to come to work and I get to have fun. Like, it is so much fun to be a part of, and watching them, like, when you share something and you see the change, like their mind, like, and how they're just like so excited, it fires me up, and I'm like, wow, it's really moving, and to be a small piece of that is really, I don't know, it warms my heart. I don't know, I'm becoming a softie in my old age, I guess, but I just like, it's so awesome to be a part of, really.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations again, and
Thank you.
best luck this weekend and as you guys head into the postseason.
Yeah, thank you.
And that is Jordan Larson with Nebraska Volleyball. This has been The Dig, powered by Emeritus. Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe and like wherever you listen to never miss an episode right here on the Huskers Radio Network podcast.